Hi, Gad.
Hey David, how are you?
Good yourself?
Yeah, very good. It's Friday evening, you know,
Yes. Yeah, Friday evening.
not so far from the weekend.
Exactly. My kids have a Halloween party coming up at school. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry for everyone who was here on LinkedIn or YouTube at 2 p.m. But there was a there was a blackout, a programmed blackout, which was supposed to end at 1. I was supposed to get my power back at 1 p.m., but I only got it back at 3 p.m. So sorry for everyone or anyone who was waiting to hear us talk about this question of, and I'm going to bring it up again. What should I invest in if I want a private sector job? Someone from the second lab who is in the middle of their PhD and asking this very important question.
Yes.
So, God, I would dive straight ahead into the meat of things. So, you're in the middle of your PhD, so you still have a lot of work to do in terms of your research, field or field work or lab work, data to gather, etc., articles to write. Do you have time? Is there something strategic you can do in the meantime to start preparing that path towards the private sector?
Yes, a lot. so so uh so yeah, and this is for your career as well. You know, you do you but I really like I would start with the questions. And the question was, should I, do you remember we
Yes, it
had
was
this question?
more
It was
complex,
more complicated, but also there was sub question: should I
more detailed. Yeah.
published a lot for doing for having a job outside of academia? The
Yes.
question is
I can actually
no,
read it. Oh, we're gonna read it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no. I don't think it's necessary. But
Okay.
let's come back to the roots. Um, and I think this question comes from the why we call the second lab.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because you have a first stream, which is your PhD, and the second one, which is you carry outside of academia, and you have to manage both because both are very, very important.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want to go have a you would like to have a job after your PhD, you need a PhD. I mean, it's a non-question. You need to have your PhD, and do not you will struggle a lot to have your PhD. That's quite I don't want to say
Natural.
normal, natural. PhD is hard. We will I mean, we are here to support that you do your research well. You have the time to do it, but also you have to find a way to figure out what you would like to do with your PhD. The
Yes.
thing is, I think PhD is the only kind of study where you don't learn really one kind or three kind of jobs. It's multiple, and all the kind of job that you can do after your PhD, it's huge. You don't do engineering. I mean, even if you do a PhD in engineering, of course you can be an engineer, but you can do other things. But
Of
if you
course.
do, you graduate in engineering after 3 years or 4 years or maybe even 5 years um, in at the university, you will have a job as an engineer.
Yeah.
That's great. You study for that, but after a PG, you can do many things.
Yeah.
So at you are at the middle of your PhD. Let's say after the first year of your PhD, what you should do. Of course, during the first year, you design your research program. You try to find out how to solve the problem that you have during your PhD. I mean, research problem. And after the second year, I mean, in Canada or even in Quebec in Canada, you have the comprehensive exam where you have to present to your thesis committee what you would like to do for your PhD as a researcher. So what kind of experiments you will do. After your comprehensive exam, it's validated. You can do a lot of research activities like every PhDs, but in parallel, you have to figure out how you will use your PhD to to um, to do something after your PhD. So how do you want to use your PhD? And
Mm-hmm.
through these activities, you have to figure out what you love, what you would like to do, and how you will add value to the society with the activities that you will do with your PhD during your
Mm-hmm.
PhDs. So focus more on some activities rather than the others. So I think this is one thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, David, about it.
I agree. I would say even ideally, before you start your PhD, try to be strategic in choosing what subject you want to work on, and ideally, well, some domains, some subjects can be more theoretical, of course, etc. That doesn't mean that they don't have application, but you know, you can be strategic in thinking already, okay, if I do this, if I follow this thesis subject, it has application in this and this domain, or it can help this or this part of the population. First, it can even start before, but it's true that you need to have this reflection. Uh, One thing I would add is, so you're in the middle of your PhD, you still have all this other work to do. Um, you really need to choose the right tool, or the right thing to focus on. And I think that's why the person asked the question is like, there's different things. First, I need to grow my academic CV. That's why the person asks how
Mhm.
important publications are. But then the person must have heard that, I need to grow my network. I need to have conversations, and I need to look at different job postings to know what the market looks like, what skills they're looking for. And I guess that's where the question is coming from: is what is more strategic, and the fact that they're in the middle. There's like I gave a keynote this past Tuesday
Mhm.
in a like Canadian, like in across the country, symposium about careers for masters, PhDs, postdocs. And the
Mhm.
image I gave was what you can do after a PhD, apart from remaining in research and following up with the postdoc, etc., is really a multiverse of things. You can't really know, I'm going to do. There's three things I can do. It's very, very. How can I say? It's a gamut of things
Mhm.
that are probabilities. They're not very defined. So I would say invest in uh, the little time you have extra from your work on your PhD to do something else. Try to find the investment that will apply to two or three or four or five of these universes that might materialize at the end. Um, for example, it would be risky, in my opinion, to focus on, okay, I have this career that interests me. I'm going to invest from now until the end of my PhD in learning all I can about this one career. And I have ideas on how to do that, but I don't know what you feel about this that I'm saying, Gad.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So the thing is here is what I'm seeing all the time is uh, either to students or even entrepreneurs that I'm following is if you want to go everywhere, you will be nowhere anyway. so so if you want I like the topic of the multiverse. If you want to go to every tunnels of this galaxy, you can't, because it's impossible,
Hmm.
humanly impossible, to be patent agent at the same time you are researchers or professors, and at the same time you are an entrepreneur, and at the same time, okay,
Yeah.
you have to focus on one. And how to do that, that's a huge question. There's some tools. We use these tools at the second lab as well. So how to figure out what you would like to do, even have an idea.
Hmm.
There's always that what there's always the I'm seeing the term in English is the I, I like this term, but I don't remember it.
Go ahead.
It's the path of faith. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, a leap, the
The
leap of
leap, the
faith.
leap of faith. Exactly. So the leap of faith is, okay, you have an idea, you validated this idea of what you would like to do after informational interviews, but at some point you have to go there. So you
Mm-hmm,
have
mm-hmm,
to fall in, fall and go there and try it, and you have to commit
mm-hmm,
to go in this path because you figure out what you would like to do. Once you have, so there's two ways to do that. So either you know exactly what you would like to do, one, three, four kind type of jobs. um, these jobs comes with skills to master, and during your PhD you can focus on to master these skills because you will have these opportunities. And and that's come back to the first question, which is, should I publish a lot during my PhD to be sure to have a job outside of academia? The answer is no, but in publishing you will develop some skills.
mm-hmm,
And if you the career that you would like to go where requires uh, I don't know, skills like writing skills, maybe publishing is a way to develop these skills.
mm-hmm,
And writing articles, it could be scientific articles, but even blog articles, or other kind of communications, writing communication, if this is something that you would like to work on, because the career that you would like to go to requires this kind of skills, go ahead, write a lot of publications.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. I don't think it's. I don't think having a lot of publication is bad for any PhD.
Hmm.
I think it's if you finish with finishing with a number like, and it depends on the domain also. But a certain number of publications is part of uh, what know how people, especially how academia evaluates how good your PhD went, and how well you published. But it's true that once you leave academia, and I've experienced this, and I've talked with many people who have experienced this. There's no one else ever for the rest of your life asks you about how many you published, and and about in what journal you published. So uh, the so investing in publishing, thinking of the career in the private, I agree with you. It's no, it's not strategic,
Hmm.
but for your PhD, of course, publish, try to publish whatever you need to have a successful PhD. That's a yes. And then, if you have some time that you can invest in preparing this path for the private, I would do other things. I would go look at the different job postings, see what skills are required. Mostly, actually, the first thing I would try to find, people who have kind of the same path as you, and talk with them on LinkedIn, ask them how they transitioned. Was it easy? What do they like, etc., etc. Do that, the typical informational interview thing.
Hmm.
You were saying something before, that people, you need to choose, or you need to find what you want to do. You can't do multiple things at the same time. But my point in the beginning is, while you're in the middle of your PhD, um, the universe of possibilities is wide and undefined. So you might not know exactly the position that you want. But why it's useful to go talk with people and to look at job postings is that you can start making kind of a scrapbook of what you like in each one of the different things you explore, and you create this kind of um, profile for yourself of,
Hmm.
I don't know, I haven't found yet like the job that I really dream of doing, but I've seen elements in these jobs, and whatever job I end up doing, and it'll get clearer and clearer as you go on closer to the end of the PhD. But I want the organizations to have these values. I want the day to day to be like this. I want the skill set needed to be like that. So I think it is important to start, you know start narrowing this multiverse. But it's a process. You start from having a lot of possibilities to the end of the PhD, to having, like you said, a handful, two, three, so that you
Hmm.
can really focus on and be very, very intentional about trying to get there.
Yeah. Yes. I completely agree with you. So three kind of jobs or even topics. Let's say very concretely, like, okay, I would like to be an R&D engineer, an application scientist, or product manager.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. What these people are doing? Did you talk to these people because maybe you idealize the job?
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Okay.
idealize the job, how to be sure that it's the right job for you? Talk to people. So contact some people on LinkedIn, go to the conference, go to the booth of the conference, and talk with people. So that's very important. And
Mm-hmm.
once you almost figure out that maybe to be, I don't know, application scientist is great for you. Um, okay, it's a great kind of topic that I would like to dig in. Is what kind of skills do you need for application scientist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as an
Yeah, you start.
application scientist, yeah,
Yeah, you
use
start drilling down on that one,
yes,
and going deeper and deeper. Yeah, no, I agree.
yeah, you go deeper and deeper. But sometimes what I saw in with the mentees in the second lab is they don't want to leave this idea of having multiple possibilities. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to dig in. So you somehow have to choose like a domain. So if application scientist, we can talk about it, but I think it's a position between marketing and science. So are you somebody who would like to work more in marketing or in science? In marketing, you have different kind of position. Maybe the first position you will get is application scientist, but
Mm-hmm.
after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in this position, maybe you will leave it because it's not for you anymore. You would like to move forward with the things that you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you will be somebody in business development.
Which I would say is normal for people coming with a PhD.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
from what I hear, you start in a company. You might even change companies, but often what happens is people discover your skills, discover your strengths, and then end up thinking of you for other positions within the company, be it horizontally, like changing
Hmm.
actually teams and doing something different because they said this person's a good communicator, or they're great at brainstorming and team management, or different things. And yeah, don't feel that having to, because you need to start with one, right? So don't feel that that choice you're stuck with it for the rest of your life. You
Hmm.
should go with it for if it's a good fit, because sometimes it's not a good fit, and then you can
Hmm.
just restart the process and go find your next job. But 2-3 years, or 4 or 5 years somewhere, then 4 or 5 years are enough to even move within the company. But then eventually you might even change completely. And the thing is, to learn about how a job is, you need to, one, a first level is talking with people who do it. A second level is trying it and seeing if it's a fit. And sometimes you really need to go into it and try it first.
Hmm. Yes, career, especially today. Maybe some decades ago, you you
Yes,
go
you
there,
you
you,
started.
you started and you go there for 20 years. You stay there for 20 years, and you have the same jobs. Or yeah, straightforward. But these days, the job market became very very complicated, but
More fluid.
in more fluid, exactly, and in the good way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
there's, you can change careers. That's very open um, into the companies, but also out. You can have a first job in a company, and that's very normal to change at some point because you want to do it, and even some companies are very, even some managers into companies are very supportive with this change. I think it was 2 days ago, I read a LinkedIn post where a manager says something like, okay, my one of my best employee feel annoyed by this job, not passionate anymore. And when we talk together, we found that the solution has to leave the company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely normal, and I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's part of the new process of having of growing your career today.
mhm,
Now, there's something, because the person was asking, should I focus on getting publications or something else? And it's a very pointed question. And I'm thinking, isn't there, maybe I think there might be situations where how can I say, investing in publishing might actually be useful. For example, you're talking about R&D. If you're going to become a researcher in industry, and you come with a high, expertise in something very new, and very how do you say, on the edge of technology, for example, in that situation, coming with a bunch of publications that show how you're kind of spearheading the research, that research domain, of course, will be useful. I'm kind of going the other way than we were going, because it just came to me that in some situations, actually, focusing on the publications is going to be pertinent. And I'm thinking of startups,
mhm,
be it in the biomed or medical devices, or whichever other, like, more tech, more deep tech uh, uh, endeavors are there in the private. Have you do you have examples of things like this
yes, a
with your
lot.
mentees? Okay.
Yes, a lot. So of course, in research, we have some metrics where the publication is at the center. The number of publication, the number of your impact factor, your H index is very important. But as a person, you grow with your publication. Even if a lot of people don't say it, we are in a publish or perish
Space.
state of mind.
Hmm.
That's quite normal in academia. But publications are also a way for, if if you think about how publication could be useful for startup companies, it's credibility. So it could be a marketing tool if you want to show that the product that you develop is renowned, or you have a credible product. You can show that these people in academia, these professors in academia, very renowned professors, very new, published with your device or with your product. It's a marketing tool.
Hmm.
Or if you have a partnership with these people and you are one of the author, it's a marketing tool as well for your company.
Hmm.
Um, the I think which is more important in the business side is the patents.
Yes. IP.
The Yeah, IP is very important. It's not like a publication. It's you.
Which I've heard some graduate students who are doing their project in conjunction with a startup or with industry. Sometimes they can't publish, or there's ways to go around publishing the industry secrets, or IP that the industry is interested in. But in this case, also, the research in the end, and the developing that technology is what is important for them to want you, and to want your idea and your expertise.
Mhm.
I've seen this in some other conversations, that it happens.
Okay. Yes.
But
So
then it's easy, because the person is already has kind of the foot in the door with industry.
mhm. So you mean publication after patent and show and
I mean someone who's in their PhD project, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, they're actually working in conjunction, with industry in
Yeah,
some aspect, and actually they can't really publish all the details because there's some
yeah.
IP constraints. I talked with someone who had this problem of, I'm doing something that, so my project is interesting commercially, so I can't publish openly, but anyway, but there's
You can,
patents.
yeah, this yeah, we can go
Yeah, you're the
deeper with
specialist on this.
we can go deeper in this topic, but maybe for another time. It could
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
long. So yeah, but yeah, you there's different way to to design around your publication. Of course, if you want to publish in Nature and you have the half of your materials and methods and device are, you would like to protect it first and then publish.
And then
So
publish. Yeah, 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 yeah.
protect it first, have a strategy, and then publish. So a communication strategy about your publication, because maybe sometimes, because there's different step in the patent, and the publication comes after 18 months after
Okay,
the priority date of your patent.
okay, okay.
So you have 18 months to develop your products and develop your I mean, more less than 18 months, so 12 months to develop your product, but you don't want to publish it, because sometimes in publication the difficulties is talk too much or develop too
Mm.
much, or would like to say that you save the world, and you would like to say that the next step that you would like to do. so yeah,
Yeah, you
it's,
reveal too much. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, you reveal too much. But yeah, if you have if you have an industrial partner, and the confidentiality of, you want to you you want to disclose some stuff,
yeah.
you have to work with your industrial partner to not disclose it by saying the good words, by writing the good words, the right words. Every words are important. um, so yeah, it, it's more difficult, but it's feasible.
Mm-hmm. So now we're getting to the end here, and I'd like to end with actionable items. And
Mhm.
imagining someone who's not, working with an industry partner, who is in the middle of his or her PhD, and who's thinking, oh, should I just publish more? We already said that is not conducive, and not there's no correlation with success in getting a job in the private. That just the publications per se, the they it's not, they're not valued in all settings of industry, although they might be in some. But I would say, and maybe like I give one and you give one piece of advice. I would say the main thing, if you can do it, if you can say, okay, I still have 2 or 3 years of PhD to go, so a lot of work. I think I can once every 2 weeks set up an informational interview with someone on LinkedIn in a different industry, somehow connected to what I do, but a little bit out there, a little bit outside of my normal scope. And that would be the first thing that I would advise. So start getting a network of people that have research backgrounds and that are outside in industry, and nurture it during this
Mhm.
time. After 2 years, you'll be surprised at how that will have helped you learn and get intelligence and be ready for those job conversations. That would be my advice.
Yeah, that's very important to network anyway, and even it's fun. I mean, meeting new people is fun. I don't know for you,
Yes.
David.
Yeah.
We
Oh
are
yeah.
we are together social people, and we like to meet others. So yeah, meeting others is very fun, and you will be surprised what you can discover.
It's true.
So
It's true. And
yeah.
because I've had this question in this in this symposium that I was of introversion, and I'm going to
Mhm.
talk with some of the students about that. And don't, you can be introverted, but people who are on LinkedIn expect to get a connection and expect to have a little message saying, hi, I really love your profile. I come, I'm doing I'm doing the PhD kind of related to what yours was, and I just wanted to say hi and connect with you.
Mhm.
Anyone on that is expected to do that. Plus, if you go the next step, which is I'd love to spend I don't know 15 minutes asking you some questions. Also, people are ready for that. Don't be
Mhm.
afraid of asking. Uh, that's my other point about LinkedIn.
Yes, that's the general idea of asking for help. Um, Connecting, if send a message first. So send a short message. I saw your LinkedIn profile. If you forget the message, the people were just like, okay, should I connect with this person? Um, Personally, I really prefer if there is a message, um, and it's 100% sure that the people will connect with you.
Yeah.
And then yes, ask for an informational interview, short, uh, prepare it, 1 to 3 questions, and talk with the people.
Hmm. Yeah. We don't be shy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other advice? So apart from informational interviews, what's something else that they could do to prepare for this path towards the private sector?
Yes, the first one is the focus. The second one is information interview. The third one is develop your skills that relies with the job that you would like to do. Um, and then I think you will have experience to storytell in your CV and um, and during your interview.
Yeah. No, I agree. Of course, why this is a sequence is because once first you kind of turn your radar towards a domain, then you find some people in that domain, you learn some of the culture, you learn some
Mm-hmm.
of the terminology, and you learn by asking the right questions what skills you might have that are already highly valued, or what skills you've touched upon but you need to work on a little bit more. But this intelligence, you learn it while having these conversations. That's why there's kind of a sequence that Gad just said there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think with this, we kind of close
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
PhD Dojo. It was a great question. If somehow you're listening or you're watching, and there's a question that's in your head and that we didn't answer, send us a question. You can send it to dojo@papaphd.com. You can leave it in the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn or on the YouTube channel. By the way, subscribe on YouTube. We're almost at 300 subscribers, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting excited. But Gad and me will be more than happy to answer your question directly, and you'll have, if you allow us, we can give you a shout out here on the show. So feel free to do that. We also don't be shy about that.
Yeah, and from the second lab, we follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. We are both on
Yes.
LinkedIn and Twitter, um, and um, and we have a call for application these days. The deadline is the 31st, so in 3 days.
Okay.
It's our let's say flagship program that it's a partnership with the Canadian Biomaterial Society. That would be a complete training program plus mentorship plus professional development, and you would be part of a community. It's a around 6 month, 8 months program. The deadline, if you would like to apply, is October 31st. All the information are on our LinkedIn profile. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
Good.
that's
I will.
we are waiting for you.
Yeah, yeah, and do please do. These programs are really cool. The fact that they're so long means that you're gonna get to know your peers, your in your cohort, but also you're gonna develop a relationship with the Second Lab team, and you'll have time to discover what you need to work on and to get to the point where you've worked on
Mhm.
it. So please do. I'll get the link from Gad and put it in the notes or under in the comments part here on YouTube.
Yeah. So
all right, Gad,
good.
if that's it, this is our goodbye for now. And looking forward to answering your questions on the PhD Dojo with the second lab. Gad, it was a pleasure again. Have a
It's a
great
pleasure, David. All
end of
the
the day,
time.
and
Yeah.
see you soon on the dojo.
Yeah. See you soon.